Remember when past Kris in December said that if I stuck to my budget, I'd be okay. I'd be like on in line with what I wanted to spend in my low buy year. Past Kris is a schmuck. Hello everyone, welcome back to a fictional escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is a relatively small book haul, but still too many to put into the wrap-up like I would normally do since entering this low buy year. I spent a total of $172 in the month of December, and my aim was to spend like 10. So we're going to go through the books that I purchased both digitally and also physically. There's enough here to show up to do, like I said, a little book haul. Before we jump into the video today, make sure to check in the description box down below for links to my social media and Discord should you want to come along for the ride. Now, I've already bought a fucking book in January. Why? Why am I like this? I will say I've done much better since my low buy year in buying books, but in 2025, let's be more intentional about it. Buy books you're going to read. At least the book I've ordered, I will read as soon as it comes out. Kris, as soon as it comes out. At the doorstep, throw everything else away. That way we make it as part of our reading goal or whatever. That's already come out. I digress. Anyway, I bought some books. My aim for this whole low buy year, so that is the beginning of July to the beginning of July, wanted to spend less or equal to 1,000 Australian dollars. At the time of filming, which is the 3rd of January at this point, I have spent $730. Now, one of those was a folio edition, which took up quite a bit of that money, and then there's some Kickstarters. Already, I've backed a Kickstarter at the end of January for JDL Rizal for the next one in the Range of the Titan Wilds. That book is beautiful and it needs to match. That's $80. There's a couple of other Kickstarters that I want to back. So if loose goals, I only back the Kickstarters of series continuations that I've already got on Kickstarter until the 1st of July. I will make that goal. I don't know if it's going to happen, but as close to $1,000 as I can get. Am I just justifying bad actions now? Let's jump into the haul. We're going to start off with some ebooks because I did purchase a few of these over on sales, or there was a release in particular that I'm quite excited about. Not that I've read the first book, but I bought the second one anyway because, like I said, I'm a schmuck. I'm a book schmuck. I'm a schmuck for books. Anyway, the first one that I bought was The Wingspan of Treason. This is by Lemire and Bayan, and I was waiting for this book to be available on the e-store, the Kindle store in Australia. It was in the UK. I ended up buying in the UK store and I wasn't waiting anymore. So this one was about $10. I've heard nothing but good things. My buddy Luke over at Future Fiction Reviews really loves this book, and I need to know. I need to know what it's about. I don't know when I'm going to pick it up, but I'm very excited. Had a brief chat to the author while I was on a live with Luke, and that was really cool. Cool interaction. So I'm definitely interested in picking this one up at some point. Then we had a sale. I cannot remember what sale it was. It wasn't Black Friday. It might have just been an end of year sale. I'm not sure who put it on either. There was a sale, and I bought books on that sale. The first two are The Executioner's Right and The Executioner's Apprentice by D.K. Holmberg. These both look really cool. They sounded pretty interesting, and I got these both for free, so $0. We actually, I'm allowed to buy things for $0. It doesn't count towards the low buy year, as it's very low buy. I then bought the ebook for The Blue Flames by Jacqueline Hagan. I have been listening to the Riverfall Chronicles on audio. I have the third book on e-copy, but I've enjoyed the narration so much that I don't want to stop and potentially have my enjoyment lessen because I'm changing the format in the way in which I am consuming those. So I picked up the Blue Flames. I haven't picked up the fourth one yet because I don't have the fourth ebook. So I will listen to the Blue Flames, and then if I'm going to continue on with the series, trying to be intentional with the buying, I will buy it when I'm going to read it. We then have Memories of Tomorrow by Noah Isaac. So this was another one that I picked up in the sale. I follow the author over on Instagram, and it sounds pretty cool. Don't ask me what it's about right now. I just clicked the button. Like, I read the blurb, I was like, yep, click the button. The other one I have is the Way Stations trilogy by N.C. Scrimgeour. I am so sorry for that pronunciation. If someone knows how to pronounce it, please tell me. I bought my friend Ryan the first book of this series, and I thought, hey, I also want to read this series. It's an author that I'm quite interested in. I really like the cover and the premise of the Sea of Souls, but I am feeling more sci-fi these days. So this one ended up being on that sale as well, and I got all three for like $3, which is amazing. Also in that sale, I picked up Bloodwoven by G.J. Terrell. I think last time I did this, I said J.G. because my brain cannot. An interesting cover. I don't know if I've read the blurb for this one, but again, an author that I quite like following on the social medias, and I'm intrigued by this man holding this baby. I have no idea what else is in there, but I picked that one up for $1.59. The next two I got for free, so the Warhog Paladins by Yer Patch. I have seen these come up on the indie releases, and I've been quite intrigued by the covers and the premise. And I think the third one, it was either the second or the third one that happened recently. I remember reading it and going, I'm going to have to go and check out that first book because it sounds pretty cool. And that was on there for free, so I picked that one up. And also The Flight of the Darkstar Dragon by Benedict Patrick, who I believe wrote Card Mage, and the cover is just for this one is just beautiful, and I cover by had to happen. I then picked up Obsidian Revelation. This is by Kashawan, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. This is the follow up to Obsidian, I want to say Awakening. I think it's Obsidian Awakening. I really enjoy this author over on X, also known as Sienna Frost, if you're not familiar with the name. Originally, it was published under her pen name, and then I believe she's updated it to her name. Such, like, I feel like I could just listen to her and her life advice and her experience forever. And I need to pick up this series. I feel like it's one that I'm just going to love because it tests boundaries, and I do love a boundary being tested. I then picked up the audio for Fall of the Giants by Gregory Taxis. This author has been kind enough to send me the ebooks of his series, and I hadn't gotten to it in time, so I wanted to give a little back while also being able to consume that in a way that I will get to it quicker. So I am planning on reading that this month, so I purchased the audio to go ahead and do that. I picked up The Forgotten Island by David Sodergren. Sodergren. I'm not wearing my glasses and the font is very small. I apologize. This is a horror book that I heard about recently on a relatively new book channel to me. I am blanking on the name because I've only been subscribed for like 2 weeks. I've been feeling more horror, and I went and I sought out some horror booktubers, and there is something super addictive about this channel. I'll have her link down below. My name may be Tiffany now, which is a trans guy, is a bit weird, but we all get called Tiffany every time we watch her channel, but I'll have that one linked down below. Which brings us to the actual physical books that I've purchased, and there's a couple of nice sprayed edges next to me, one of which I did not know how to sprayed edge, but I did some secondhand book shopping. I was just craving, there's one particular bookshop here which I love called Pulp Fiction. It's on the pricey side, I'm not going to lie, for a secondhand bookshop, but the variety that they have in there is excellent, and it's relatively close to home, whereas the others are like in the city. And then I did a Broken Binding shop for their Black Friday sale. I also had a Kickstarter come in. I got gifted a couple of books for Christmas, and another Broken Binding that turned up, and I forgot that I'd ordered it. So that's in here too. No particular order. These are just stacked in the way that they're stacked. So if I bought the second book of whatever this series is by C.L. Clarke. So this is The Faithless. I have the first book, which I believe is called The Unbroken. Yes, I do. And I am interested in the series. This was like $2.50 on the sale. And I was like, well, I have the first book, so it'd be rude not to get the second book. This next one I have was a Kickstarter, and I've spoken to the author, Shayla Morganson. This is Mythos Unbound. This is a really fun edition of this book. Check how shiny that is. Got some beautiful sprayed edges. This was a Kickstarter that I backed. My favorite part of these books is the inserts. So there has been a number of inserts printed that go over the pages where they should go, and they've all been designed for the story. I don't want to give too many away because I want people to go and get it. I don't know if this is a Kickstarter only thing for the inserts, but this is just gorgeous. This is an urban fantasy, not my usual flavor, but I had a pretty fun time with it, and yeah, it was really fun to talk to the author. Now this one is beat up. Sorry people who like pristine books. My secondhand bookshop, whilst they are pricey, they are also still beat up. But it's a book I've been thinking about for a while. This is Clive Barker's Weave World. So I picked this one up. Actually, it doesn't look too bad in the camera. Never mind. I know very little about this book, but I do know it's been recommended to me out of the Clive Barker books that I have heard and talked about. So I think this is where I'll start with Clive Barker, and it is one that's calling to me from the shelf. So watch out for my mood to suddenly pick this one up at some point in the next coming months. I also managed to snag. Oops, sorry, hit the camera. I also managed to snag the Green Angel Tower Part 1 and Part 2 by Tad Williams. So these are slightly off size-wise, which is very annoying. I don't normally care about that, but when you are Part 1 and Part 2, get it together. I've not seen these covers for less than a couple of $100. To get them for, I think they were like $16 together. Pretty good, not mad. I don't know when I'm going to get to this series. I own so many Tad Williams books without having read one. And the last one I picked up from my little secondhand books shop is Shadow and Betrayal. This is book 1 of the Long Price Quartet by Daniel Abraham. What did I have? I had the first book of another series of Daniel Abraham, which I gave to my father-in-law, and I've never seen it since. I think I gave it to him in August, and I haven't been back to Brisbane, and he's not been to Perth. So I do want to read some of Daniel Abraham. I'm a little bit cautious about The Expanse that he's writing with another author, because I tend to gravitate towards more philosophical or military sci-fi than I do space opera, popcorny type books. But I am interested in his fantasy, so I will give that one a go again at some point in the future. Another one from Broken Binding was Renia by Carl Forshaw. Really enjoyed this at the end of 2003. 2003. Kris, you were like 11 or 12, whatever. 2023. And I just saw the physical copy. It was very, very affordable, and I will continue buying the series physically, as it's one I'll very likely read. I love scribes in my fantasy books. It's probably one of my buzzwords when it comes to particular types of characters, and this follows a scribe, so I really enjoyed that. This one was gifted to me by my friend Ryan for Christmas. This is Elder Race by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I have read this one. I enjoyed it. I will have this one in a wrap-up at my January wrap-up. It'll be in there, but it shocked me. It took me by surprise with how deep this was for a 200-page novella. The next one I have also has sprayed edges, and this is Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel, another author that I own and have not read anything of. That's Ring Light's not doing that justice. Woo-hoo. Check out those edges. Got some stars on them. I want to read this one with Ryan again at some point. I have Station 11 as well, which I will read again at some point. I don't know when. I think I have Station 11 ebook, physical, and on audio. I own a few copies. Again, I think this is philosophical sci-fi, which I enjoy. Stuff that makes you think in a sci-fi atmosphere. So we'll see at some point. I picked up this one, I'm not gonna lie, it was cover by, it was like $5, and I was like, that sounds interesting. I think this is a sci-fi murder mystery. Someone tell me if I'm wrong, because I have not read the blurb. This is The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton, and it also was on the Broken Binding, so I assume it has something to do with sci-fi or fantasy. I don't know, but it's very pretty. I'm not going to start reading the blurb now. I don't need to know. I'll figure it out when we get there. This one was gifted to me for my birthday, but I got it in December by Ryan. So this is Absolution by Jeff Vandermeer. We are reading this one. I'm hoping to start it tomorrow. I probably will be finished by the time this video comes out. Very much looking forward to it. Have loved everything I've read by Jeff Vandermeer so far, which is just Southern Reach at this point, or Area X, whatever you want to call it. But I was also gifted another Jeff Vandermeer. This, I believe, is a trilogy. This is the Ambergris. I can read. It's been a long day. And I believe this is a trilogy. It has 3 books in here. Let's see if I'm talking out of my bottom. Who knows? Yes, City of Saints and Madman, Shriek and Afterward, and Finch. And it's signed. How cool is that? It says, to Kris, which is me. Isn't that nice? Like I said, I've really loved everything Jeff Vandermeer has put out so far. I expect this to be no different, and I'll probably do this one and then go on to the series that has Dead Astronauts in it. Hopefully, fingers crossed. The next one was my surprise from the Broken Binding that I must have ordered because I have the first 2. And this is Iron Council by China Mieville. Look at the sprayed edges. How cool is that? These are just beautiful. They're very, very beautiful books. Got the foiling on the front there, which is a train. I do want to read this series. I think I am much more ready for China Medieval now than I was when I first tried to read Perdido Street Station. I tried to read that before I was even on Bookstagram, and I was probably reading, I don't know, 2, 3 books a year. And then it wasn't until I sort of got more well versed, particularly in that philosophical sci-fi. I believe this is a sci-fantasy series that I really started to pick up and gravitate towards some of that harder to digest books, which is interesting because I also like easy to read books. Anyway, again, another tangent. The last one that I picked up was The Shade of Madness, or A Shade of Madness by Tiago Abdallah. Again, this one was very affordable. The hardcovers of these books are so beautiful. This is printed on the naked hardback. That's ridiculous at how good this is. I read A Touch of Light. I enjoyed A Touch of Light. I always intended to go on with the next in the series, but I just never picked it up. I believe I also have this one on audio, but I will probably go physical again. Now that I know what I'm getting into with A Touch of Light, I need to reread that one before going on to this one. And it was just, it's too nice. It's too nice a book to walk past on such a sale. Those were some books that I picked up over the month of December. Do you think I went overboard? I probably did. You don't need to answer that. What did you pick up in the month of December? Did you pick any good books up? Let me know in the comments down below if you like the content. Give one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will. I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao.